so there's a lot of information on culture that we're going to cover during class, and as you can see in your chapter, there's a lot of different things to take into consideration. However, for this particular video, what I want you guys to focus on is Hofstede's 6 dimensions of culture. Now, Hofstede, or Geert Hofstede, is a Dutch psychologist who worked for IBM for many years, and he did a lot of training and management all over the world. And so he came up with 6 dimensions where you can group different cultures, different countries based on those dimensions, and really find out the basics of the culture for that particular country. So what he did back then was he would go to a country and conduct a survey on the culture of the country and the culture of the business, and he would conduct factor analysis with all of his findings and group different countries together based on these dimensions that we're going to talk about. Now, these 6 dimensions, you've probably heard of some of them before, and I'm not going to go too much into depth into each of them because we will take a long time, but I do want to mention that the most important one is, of course, individualism versus collectivism, and I'm sure you've heard about it. Individualistic societies tend to be more individual, me-oriented, achievers, more on the personal side, and collectivistic societies tend to be more concerned with the society, with the group, with the well-being of the whole group in general. That's the first one, and probably one of the most important ones you'll ever hear about. The second one is high versus low power distance, and countries differ in the way they feel about power. People who are in power positions, whether they have money or certain positions, and so when you have a really high distance, people feel like there has to be respect, and there's a hierarchy to reach that person. And when you have low power, then you have hierarchies that are flattened, and so countries tend to feel more personable, right? And there's no such great respect like with high power distance. The next one is uncertainty avoidance versus risk taking. Countries can feel very uncertain about things, and so they try to avoid that as much as possible. And there's other countries that tend to take more risks, and they feel more interested in being entrepreneurial and being more daring. So that's another dimension of culture. Masculinity versus femininity, that's another dimension. And feminine societies tend to be more collective, again, more towards collaboration and doing working in things that you love. And masculine societies tend to be more achievers and doing things for position. And so there's a difference there. And confusion dynamics, which is the next one, the fifth one, is looking at things, objectives in the long term or the short term. And this comes from Asian Confucius, which was a philosopher. And we'll talk a little bit more about these individually when we go back to class. So take a look at them in your book, get acquainted with them. The last one is indulgence versus restraint. There are countries that are more indulgent in terms of life, entertainment, things like that, and some countries that are more into working and having order, and such beliefs, right? So these are the 6 dimensions that I really want you to focus on. Take a look at your book, see each one of them, what they mean. And your activity for today is going to give you double points. So you're going to get 5 points extra for this particular activity. And what I like for you to do after you read those different dimensions on your book, I want you to go to Hofstede's compare countries. So I want you to go to Google and type Hofstede compare countries. So this is a website that allows you to type in the country, the name of a country, and it gives you the different the indices for those dimensions. So for example, you go to this website and then you type Brazil. Brazil is going to come up with all of these dimensions, and it's going to tell you that its individualism dimension is at the level 38, which is very low. So what that tells us is that they're higher on collectivism, which is a collectivistic society, right? They're more concerned with the group rather than the individual. So make sure that you choose the country, whatever you want, type it in, look at the different dimensions, and then you're going to make a 2-minute video where you tell me a little bit about the culture for that country, and then you tell me about maybe 1 or 2 dimensions that you found that were interesting for that country and what they mean. Okay, so enjoy, have a great time.